Good morning and welcome to the HCK PreShow.
Today we have a special Valentine's edition of the pre-show, and it's Donut Day! We hope that you have your donuts at home and that you are ready to eat them. This morning, to get started, we are actually going to play a donut minute-to-minute game. Mrs. Kathy versus Mrs. Maria. What we're going to be doing is taking a donut hole, and we're going to be trying to launch it into a bowl to see who can make the most baskets. All right, you ready? If you want to try this game at home, you could also do this with ping pong balls or any other kind of little object you have laying around the house. All right, on your mark, get set, go. Oh boy, this is hard. Oh, got one.
Did you bounce it?
Ah, missed.
Oh no!
Ah, shoot.
I think you're gonna.
Not very good at this. Woo, two.
Sure, I teach you how to bounce them in.
I know. Miss Kathy was giving me all of her tricks when we practice. Uh-oh.
I have none. Ah, there.
Oh boy.
And
Last one. All right. Let's
Maria.
count and see.
No contest.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I have 3.
Woo! This morning, as our story begins, our Israelite friends are camped at the foot of Mount Sinai, and God has some very special commands to give them, the 10 Commandments. Seeing as how it's Donut Day, we thought we would use donuts to help you understand the 10 Commandments. This right here is my favorite donut. It is a blueberry glazed yumminess. Nothing can beat my favorite donut, just like no one can beat God. The first command is you should have no other gods before God.
This is a bagel, not a donut. A bagel is a false donut. The second commandment is don't worship false gods.
This is a caramel roll. We can only use the name caramel roll to describe this kind of pastry. The third commandment is don't use the Lord's name in vain. We should only use God's name when we're talking about Him with respect.
Sundays and donuts. Nothing is better than Sundays and donuts. The fourth commandment tells us to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Have you ever had too many donuts? Your parents probably have limits on how many donuts you're allowed to eat. Probably for a good reason, because they know what's best for you. The fifth commandment is honor your mother and your father.
Sprinkle donuts aren't done until you've added the sprinkles. That's kind of like the sixth commandment where God says don't murder. Jesus took it further and added sprinkles by saying, if you've hated someone in your heart, you've already murdered.
How would you feel if I promised to give you this donut, but then ate half of it before I gave it to you? God's seventh command is do not commit adultery, which is a commandment for parents and for married people. But it's also a command about keeping our promises.
Donuts cost money. You wouldn't think of walking out of the store without paying money for your donuts. God's eighth commandment is do not steal.
Some people like chocolate donuts, and some people like vanilla donuts. What if I promised you that I was going to give you a chocolate donut, but then snuck it on the side and gave you a vanilla donut? You wouldn't like that at all. God's ninth commandment is do not lie.
Let's say you have a donut, but your neighbor has a jelly donut. Well, that's God's 10th commandment. Don't be jealous about the things your neighbor has, but instead be grateful for the things God has already given you.
Did you know that the 10 Commandments are a perfect lesson for Valentine's Day? How could a list of rules be perfect for Valentine's Day? Well, if you look closely at the 10 Commandments, you will notice that some of them teach us how to have a right relationship with God, and that the rest of them teach us how to have right relationships with each other. God knows what's best for us, and He wants us to have healthy relationships with both Him and with others. Your challenge this week is to take a look at the 10 Commandments and see if you can figure out how they show God's love for us, his people. Stick around. Hope Live begins at 10.